welcome to Dark Souls on Second Thoughts. And of course, Fluke doesn't play this game. Why? Because he is weak girly man. So, I have someone who has balls of steel, someone who is as stupid as I am when it comes to dying.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hello,
high
Dave.
five, Serge.
High five, internet high five.
As I just said before we started this, I love having you in videos. It always makes me smile, because you play games on the same kind of just ridiculous levels as I do.
Well, if it's not a challenge, then how do you ever get better, you know?
Exactly, and Dark Souls is like the pinnacle of that. I'm about to get messed up by a rat.
It's like a rat,
Like,
the lowliest of creatures, still kicking your ass.
Yeah, look at this rat go, man. This is like boss rat here. It's like, holy crap.
Oh,
He poisoned me and took off half my health from one rat. Anyway, so
yeah.
Dark Souls, you've been playing it quite a lot, and
You've
so have
been
I.
playing it quite a lot. It's only been out 8 days, and it's actually managed to convince you to start streaming again. And
I know. It's a wonderful
everyone in our community has just been clamouring to watch you die over and over and over again. It's really quite bewildering to people are sadists, aren't they? They just love to watch you dying.
Yeah. This comes with, you know, the territory of what I'm doing. It's like everyone loves watching me suffer. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I've been loving it. You've been loving it. And several people in our community have been loving it as well. Like, some people have said, oh, I'll pick it up, I'll give it a go. And then they've got into it and they've just been like, oh my god, this game.
Yeah. There's one guy in the community who I'm not going to mention by name, but you all know who it is. But we'll not mention his name. But he was watching the stream and was like, oh, I really like the look of this game, but I can't play with a mouse and keyboard. And so get a controller. Best decision you'll ever make, buying a controller. And he was like, I'm not sure. And then he bought one. And he was like, you guys were so right. Greatest decision I've ever made. But so let's discuss that. The game itself on PC.
Yeah.
It's a weak PC game.
For a
It has to be
PC
said.
game, I do have to say, like, if you're buying this, if this was a PC game from the get-go, I would have been up in arms. I would say, you know, what's this? What's going on? With the controls and the graphics, I'd be saying, what's going on?
Yeah. It's quite interesting to see that From Software, they did say, look, we are straight porting it. So, okay, they get some points for honesty, yes, but that doesn't let them off the hook. It is still a straight port. And it's quite interesting to see, like, they were saying that they didn't have much experience when it came to the PC stuff, which was what was causing some of...
This is actually their first ever PC port.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting to see the guy from the NeoGAF forums and the stuff that he's done in such a quick period of time.
Oh.
It's interesting to see what he's been able to do with that game. But then, of course, he is like people are saying, "Oh, if he can do it in, you know, a day, why can't From Software do it?" And people seem to forget the fact that that's because his is like, if I remember rightly, his is a DirectX injection that's doing weird, funky things and isn't stable. Even he says it's unstable. I'm not sure that this will work for the whole game.
We've got
From
someone in the
Software
community that it actually doesn't work for them. I'm not going to name who it is, but it doesn't work for them. It just causes the game to crash.
So From Software would have to do it a different way. People need to remember that. But it's tricky. Also, I love this bit. It's just like pokes head up. It's like, hello.
Ah, yes. This
And
boss.
then you actually see the entire boss.
The thing is, though, the story goes with this is that when they actually finally got round to porting the game, most of the actual From Software staff had already moved on to new projects. Like, they usually make the Armored Core games. They have regular installments of them. They only had like a fraction of their development team, the original development team, making this. And like, I actually I have to praise them because it's a solid port. The controls and the graphics are not up to scratch, but I haven't encountered a single bug.
Well, that's because it has a solid core. This is what supports it. The game, I can't hit that tail for crap. But the port itself is It's a very standard port. It fits, like, it is literally a case of, put Xbox disc in one CD drive, put blank DVD in other drive, and burn it across.
Yeah.
But the game that's underneath it is so perfect in what it does. It survives the transition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nasty. That's
So
all can really do some damage.
Yeah, let's mention that briefly. The tail mechanic, I think, is fantastic. There are, of course, creatures in the game that if you destroy their tail in the fight somehow, you get extra stuff. Also, ow.
Oh, I fucked you up. Oh, you were close there. But yeah, there were just these
tail,
mechanics so that, like, if you aim at the tail, you can cut it off. Like, usually if an enemy has a tail, you can chop it off and you'll get a weapon. Right?
Yeah.
One of the bosses I played, I won't name it, I won't say where it is, whatever, but it had a tail, and it had an item I wanted, but I couldn't cut it off because the entire boss was invisible. Alright? You'll not believe how many times I tried to get at this creature's tail. I didn't know where it was because it was invisible.
This boss is actually fairly easy when you learn how it fights. Plus, also, I'm over-leveled for this. That needs to be said now. The gear I'm running around in, excluding the sack face.
I love that.
And yeah, I'm still sucking pretty hard.
Well, that's the thing. That's another good thing about the game is that no matter how good your items are, your skill will always determine whether you do well.
Oh yeah, we'll see that later on. Don't worry, I do something rather foolish that we will recommend people don't do. But victory achieved. But the old style of how this RPG plays is quite interesting, and I'm not talking difficulty here.
Yeah.
Not at all. Let's take difficulty, and we'll discuss difficulty later. Let's actually look at the fundamentals of the game. The way loot works, the way your character works, the way the world works, are very traditional. And it's so beautiful to see a game these days that can do that and do it right.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree actually. Just it's just the entire world is really unique. It's got a really unique setting, and the entire backstory of the world, and all the items and the lore, the characters and everything. It's all completely fresh. Like, I've never seen anything really like it in terms of character development, and it's actually like a really dark story. If you actually look at it's got the old kind of system. If you actually look at the items that you find in the world, most of the lore can be found in the items, and you learn a lot more about the world that way than you do just by walking around.
Yeah. But then also, in the mention of walking around, it's very, as I said, it's very traditional in the fact that you can essentially go anywhere. There are some restrictions.
Yeah, there are some areas that are locked out to you, but usually those areas
you can go there, you just have to go and get the key to open there first.
Yeah. Like, for instance, there was one bit where I was playing earlier that I couldn't get to, and I thought, oh, okay, I only have to come back here later. Turns out I could actually get to that area by killing a specific mob to get the key. And I thought,
or, for some areas, you could go around the back door.
Yeah, there are also multiple
That's another
paths.
fantastic
It's
thing.
a completely open world. You can go into areas through multiple ways. Like here, for example, there are 2 ways into this next area here, Blighttown.
Yeah. I've already cleared Blighttown. We cleared it on stream. So this is me going in the front door, just so that it's open.
Yes, I remember leading you down into the back door of Blighttown. There was much screaming on your part.
Innuendo there, by the way, leading me screaming into the back door.
Yeah, the back door of Blighttown. It was messy.
But it's fantastic to not only see this wonderful open world, because it is. Like, it doesn't matter if people are like, oh, but areas are locked off until you've done certain things. It's like, tough shit. The world is still completely open. It's just, you don't have... It's not giving you everything on a silver platter. If you want to go to the area, go get the item that's required. And the great thing is, it doesn't tell you where that item is.
It doesn't tell you anything, which is why it's so good. It really promotes that sense of exploration. It just seems to be lost in RPGs, in just, games in general. They always give you this quest. You have to go out to the world, find the thing, come back, or, progress into the next area to hand in your quest. But there's no quests. you have to go out and do everything yourself. You have to find all the things, and just the sense of satisfaction you get from finding really cool things on your own is just, it's indescribable, really.
It's fantastic also to see that we have guys in the community that vary all the way from, like, you know, people who have completed it and are on New Game Plus, all the way down to people who haven't even done, like, the first kind of objectives, and yet have been playing it nearly as much as you and I. They've just been wandering around, and they're like, I keep walking into areas with big stuff. It's just like, well...
Yeah. So we're looking through the...
Yeah.
We're looking through the bottomless box at the moment, which is a bit like a bank. You can store an endless amount of stuff. And...
It's really handy. You actually have to buy one of these. However, in my opinion, given how... The game never pauses unless you drop out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, the game's not paused. I'm just in a air quotes safe zone.
And that's mostly because the game is online. It has the online sections of the game.
But it's really... I really do recommend getting a bottomless box and storing all your spare stuff in it so you can quickly get through your stuff. I mean, the inventory system, it's a very old kind of archaic system, you know, just scrolling down. It's laid out in a really nice way, but it's still archaic. However, also look at that strength requirement. 50 strength.
I think I can nearly use that.
But it's really awkward to get around because you have to just keep scrolling down until you find the right item.
Yeah, when you're trying to get to specific items very quickly, it's a little bit of a pain overall to try and get through. But it just kind of shows you also how many items there actually are in this game. But there's no shortage of weapons.
Oh,
as you can see.
There's tons of weapons and unique weapons, and you'll play through this game multiple times and never see everything, unless you're a wiki user. But nothing against wiki users.
There's nothing. I have nothing against people who use the wiki to play this game, but just for your first playthrough, this is just a Salt and Surge recommendation.
Because it would be more enjoyable.
Don't use the wiki at all. Just go out there, find the items you find in the world, and explore the game, complete it and stuff, and worry about all your min-maxing and stuff afterwards. Like, you've got a million playthroughs to get through. And
you've got, what is it, 7 New Game Pluses that will scale with you, because you can play through the game 8 times.
You can play through the game 8 times before the game will finally say, look, dude, alright, you've won. Alright, we'll stop making the world harder. This is as hard as it gets. Alright, you've won.
That's quite crazy. And there are some fantastic items as well.
There are some really funny items, like that sack that you can wear on your head right now.
Yes. So, of course, you've got the other things like being able to turn human and kindle the fires, and they give you bonuses that we don't need to discuss here. But the level system is quite interesting. As the way it works is souls are the currency that you use to buy your items and also to level up. And they're the item that you lose if you die. Well, they drop if you die, and then if you can get them back, good on you. If you can't get them back, then they've gone tough crap.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see, like, I'm level 51. I'm still only about 35% of the way through the game, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And it's... dead end. It's quite interesting to see the way the level system works in that every stat point you use will be useful to you. There is no set way of playing your character, and there is no right way. The amount of freedom that you have, and the fact that every stat is useful, is really quite shocking to see these days.
Depending upon the kind of character you're going for, usually people pick one of the stats and just kind of focus on that stat, saying, right, I want to be a strength user, in which case you'll be walking around with the really huge weapons in your mind. And with you know, I want to be an intelligence user, you'll be using all the sorcery stuff that's available. But nothing's to stop someone in sorcery from grabbing some strength and suddenly doing a bit more damage with their weapon. Obviously, there's a few more advanced mechanics on top of that, which we won't go into because it's something you find out for yourself if you buy the game. But it's just the entire flexibility of, like, well, I want to be able to cast some miracles to heal myself. You can put a couple of points into your faith, and it's just it's a flexible leveling system. The only
that was the thing. Sorry, that was the thing that really kind of messed me up with my character. I feel like I'm leveling my character right and wrong at the same time, because I want to have more points in endurance and stamina, and I want to have more points in health, but I want to have more points in strength, and I want to have a few more points in faith so that I can use the heal and cures.
Maybe.
But it's just there's so much freedom, it's suffocating at times because you want to do everything.
Maybe that's, yeah, the limitation is that you can't do everything. The prices and the actual levels.
If you put in enough time.
If you put in enough time, you can do everything.
Ooh, that was close.
I think the actual level cap of the game is 999. People have like gone this far. I don't know.
I ran into a guy that was 250, and he messed me up.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He one-shot you.
Yeah, and then did the what gesture, which really was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But like these are a really basic minion type. I'm gonna say minion because they're pretty.
They're just your basic hollowed.
Yeah, and yet they were still effing me up.
If we were wearing other than a cloth robe, you might take a little less damage, but still.
Yeah, but then I'd lose the ability to roll unless I had certain items and stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is the wonderful thing. There's weight systems and strength systems and resistance systems and all. There's so much going on in this game.
There's lots of crunching numbers to be. Lots of numbers to be crunched is a better way of putting it.
But you don't have to.
You don't have
at the
to,
same time. Yeah, it really does. That's the interesting thing. It appeals to min-maxers, but it appeals to just your regular RPG player as well. Because you can survive in both. You don't need to know. Everything is laid out in front of you. You can see the differences, but if you want to min-max, all of the numbers are there so you can as well. Also, these guys are a pain in my ass. So, here is one of the things that I'm going to mention now. Like I mentioned, the difficulty and how we mentioned difficulty. Like this bit, A, dogs suck.
Dogs suck.
And B, no matter how far through the game you are, never take anything for granted. Because if you ignore mobs, and if you rush, and if you don't take your time and do things the right way.
The one thing I love about this game. It's what's caused more rage than anything in this game, is that if you're not patient, the game will punish you for it, as you're now finding out.
Dogs, dead.
Yes, patience is definitely a virtue when you're playing this game, and too many times I've seen people on streams, in videos and everything, running through and losing, like, 50,000 souls and putting up a rage video because they tried to run through an area and they didn't kill the enemies.
Yep. Now, and the thoughts going through my head at this moment in time are, okay, sod it, I'll go the other way. I'll go down through Blighttown. I can't be bothered to go up through everywhere else. And then I realized that I dropped to humanity. And while souls, in my opinion, aren't really that big of a deal because you'll always lose them and you'll get them back eventually.
Humanity is a bit more valuable.
Yeah, humanity on the other hand is much different, and the fact that I just lost 2, it's like, okay, I'm going to go and get them.
Because they're much more finite than souls. Souls you just get from killing enemies, but humanity, that can only be gained from things like specific items, which usually only drop from bosses.
Yeah, or rats.
Or rats, well. The drop chance is pretty low.
Graphically, the game isn't that fantastic. I mean, it looks okay, but it's nothing special.
We have to say now though, like before we say anything, is that you've got Durant's mod on.
Yes, I do have the NeoGAF mod on, and whether or not I should have that on for review is up to debate. But the game, either way, with the mod on or off, the game doesn't look fantastic. It's not a visually stunning game. I just have it on because it makes things more bearable. The game is uglier than this if you don't have it on, which really does say something. However, there is only so much you can do with the game. So. But graphically, I think the game is the graphic style works for the game that you're playing. However, as we mentioned, it's ugly. It could be better, but
it's not the prettiest horse in the stable.
It doesn't need to be prettier.
It doesn't need to be prettier. It works how it is. Because just the way the game looks, it looks fine.
Yeah. It fits perfectly with what's going on. Like, it's truly a case of making the graphics that fit the game rather than making the game that fits the graphics.
Yeah.
And speaking of making, graphics to fit the game, the game itself is ridiculously long.
I would actually contest with that point. It's not that long.
No?
I've seen someone
Really?
play through it. It's not that long if you know what you're doing.
But which way around did they do it? Did they just do the objective way? Did they just go from point to point to point
They
and then
didn't
do
go
it that way,
from
or did they
point
go
to
through
point.
every area?
I think eventually you do have to go through every area in the story. But the overall actual plot line isn't that long. It's just
Plotline
All-
maybe slightly shorter than...
all the killing or the grinding. Well, I wouldn't say grinding is, you know, a good thing, but in this game, when you die enough times as you do, you tend to kind of call running to your corpse grind.
The amount of... Yeah, I'm about to get messed up by multiple backstabs.
Oh.
This is real. This sucks for me. Like, I get straight back up and get knifed again.
Oh, wow,
But-
they're really making a monkey out of you.
Yeah, the story may be slightly shorter than what I'm saying, but the entire world, the whole world combined,
The world
it's
isn't
huge.
small.
It's so big, and it takes so long to get through all of it. Like, if you're speed running it, then no, but that doesn't count. Average Joe playing through it will be here for way longer than any normal game that comes out these days.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really interesting to see that with all of the other mechanics that are in play in this game. The glowy green light of redemption.
And it's so close yet so far away because you know, skulking
Yeah.
in the shadows.
So what's your take on length?
In terms of length, I think it's all dependent on how well you play the game. Like if you start out having never played Demon's Souls, having never played it on the console when it came out, you're in for quite a long ride.
Yeah.
But for me, I've already played it quite a bit on console and completed it on the console. But
Yeah.
for me, I can actually go through the first areas, have very little trouble, and I can get through in an evening. What
Yeah.
other people have taken several evenings trying to get through.
So we should wrap this up. Do you want to finish that thought very quickly?
No, I think that about sums it up, really.
Okay, so the game, as an RPG, is fantastic. As a difficulty RPG, even more fantastic. As a PC game, questionable and up for debate. Only recommendation, get a controller. You will definitely enjoy playing it with a controller
Your
much more than
Dark
mouse and
Souls
keyboard.
will love you for it if you get a controller.
Yep, it will make your life so much easier. You can play it with mouse and keyboard. We do know people that are playing it with mouse and keyboard, but it's trickier.
They're not having an easy time of it, I'll tell you that.
No. So, final thoughts, Serge, very quickly. You've got like 20 seconds.
Final thoughts. It's a console game on the PC, but it's a brilliant console game that I absolutely love. And if you are up to the challenge, if you can bear the graphics and having to use a controller on your PC, then go for it. You've got nothing to lose.
Yep. I will second everything you said. So, if you have any questions, queries, or comments, leave them where, Serge?
Below!
There you go. And from myself and Serge and Sackman, we will catch you for the next video. Peace.
Goodbye.